Welcome, Samuli. Second episode of the Click of Stone sessions, or whatever we end up calling this thing. But basically, yeah, so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here because I'm at home.
So let's start. Let me introduce Samuli a little bit. Samuli is one of the key people in Finnish renju. We met back in 2003 when we set up the Finnish renju federation, and then we ran bunch of national tournaments, bunch of international tournaments, participated in online gaming, live gaming. You were based in Tampere. I was based in Helsinki, and we had a core group of maybe 5 people, including Kari Haikonen, Marko Pellikka, Lauri Toivonen, and then maybe a dozen other people just randomly showed up at tournament. Risto is probably there, or Judge, maybe Risto can say hello later on. He was there at least on the first episode. Mark was participating in some of the tournaments. My brother Jari was as well, quite a few tournaments. Somebody called Johan Gran was at least a few tournaments. So yeah, that's basically basically the gist of it. And we were pretty close from 2003 until 2009 ish, and then I moved abroad for years, and it's just kind of distanced myself from the renju world for a bit. So it's super nice to get back in contact and have a chat with you, and see, basically introduce you as a player, as an organizer, as a renju and komoku enthusiast, and the best player, renju player in Finland, but also get in touch and listen a little bit of what is how is your life, how do you look at the game now, about 10 years, 12 years since we last connected.
That's a lot. So where do we start?
So why don't you I'll shut up for a bit, and why don't you say something, about you, say something about your renju history background.
Okay, I say something. I'm usually not speaking like so much. I leave that to Jussi. That was the whole point of the federation. Jussi, you were the leader, and the rest of us were quietly doing what was needed. But I was born in 1981, so this is the big year when I turn 40 in December. So this is my last year as a junior, I think. I think I started playing regular five in a row in about 1997, maybe 98. I was about 16, 17. Back then we had dial-up modems, and it was always tough to get online because it cost so much money. And so I played only a few nights a week, and it was back then mainly about chatting with other teenagers and playing some games also. I think in 1998 I was getting good at the game, and then I heard of this playing site that was called actually Play Site. Um, there I started playing Komogu, well, the same game as five in a row. But at this site I met Marko and Lauri.
You didn't meet them at Pasimaailma or anything?
No, I didn't play in those places. I can't remember the lame place where I was hanging then.
Where did you
But
find
someone
Playside? You just
someone
stumble.
someone someone from that place where I started playing, someone started talking about that when we played, and he he told me that there was this place where there are a lot better players, and so then I came to Playside. I can't remember. As I'm old, my memory is not like your last week's guests who seem to remember everything. So this week's episode is a bit different. We'll be talking about what might have been. Um, but anyway, it was 1998, so I was about 17. Started playing Gomoku more and learned of the sure wins and that. And there I met Marco, and I can't remember now what his nickname was at Playside, but it was some PCC or something like that. I can't remember, but it was legendary.
Yeah, we call him Betsy.
Yes, Betsy, yes, Marco Pellikko.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I met him and Lauri, and um, uh, they told they were living in Tampere, and it so happened that in 2001, after the army, I went to Tampere to study math, and so at 2001 started the first version of the so-called Finnish renju gang at Tampere. I guess that was also always the starting point for me. I think
Which year was
2001,
that?
2001 when I started studying at university. That's
Right.
when I first met Marco and Lauri live.
Wow.
So from 98 to 2001,
Just hang around
we only
online.
we only played together online at Playsite, and then there was that other place where was it? It's Your Turn. I know.
Yeah, it's your
Yeah,
turn.com.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was also a place where we played, but I think maybe for 1 year we were playing Gomoku, and then at some point they started talking about the other variant called Renju, and you should try it. And so I did, but I'm not sure was it still 98 or 99. But it's been over 20 years since I started playing Renju. Anyway, yeah, yeah, it has to be a bit over 20 years. So that's a long time. So
So you were starting to get good at Renju already 90, 98, 99. That was 3 years before I started with Komoku initially. And then once we made that play site, that must have been, late summer 2002. And
yeah,
then,
it has to be because 2003 we already started our federation, and we had the Helsinki Open first
yeah,
tournament as well. So it had to be
yeah,
2002,
yeah.
I
I,
think.
I went to US as an exchange student uh, in January 2003. So I wasn't live gaming. I didn't meet you guys before the summer of 2003 live when we ended up actually
Yeah,
establishing the association,
yeah,
formal
it was
association.
summer '03, definitely.
Yeah.
That I can remember. Yeah, but the time before that, I've been trying to think about the timeline since we spoke about your idea. Was it maybe a month ago when you talked about that this idea was coming? But I can't put together the pieces of the timeline. I just know that it was 98 when I went to Playsite, and from that until 2001 is the time period where I played Gomoku, and then I learned Renju at the same site. But to get good at Renju before you started playing Gomoku, that's another story. I can't say. I think I started getting better only after I had moved to Tampere. So in 2001 fall, when I started my studies and I started hanging out more with Marco and Lauri, we played online on board. and I continued to play a lot online. When I was living at home at a smaller place, we didn't have much of an internet connection, but once I got to Tampere, which is like one of the best places to be when you're a student, you have the best internet connections basically there. I was able to focus much more on the gaming part
Right.
online. That's also the reason why I started getting better. But yeah, I think up till my university studies, I was still kind of a part-time player. I think I noticed I had some skills and talent, but I didn't really know what could come of it at that time.
Right. I remember when I started, I joined online renju class as soon as I was able to. I'm wondering, were you already a student at online renju class back in 2003 January, or did you join later on?
I don't remember. Yeah, we talked about it yesterday evening when we were testing these, and I can't find really any logs as the renju class is no more active. But we did find that already at 2004 I was giving classes at online renju class, so I had to be a student there for over a year before that. I'm sure.
Yeah,
So I was there listed before you came. I think I had
I
started already.
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, but I can't put together the timeline because after I had played at Playsite, then there was this Russian place called Gambler.
Yeah.
Don't know if it's active anymore, but when I was studying, I started playing at some point. There, I think some players were at Playsite maybe, and they mentioned it. Or then Renju class game server came before that, and there I met some Russian players who spoke about their own gaming site, and it was quite tricky to use as it was only in Russian. So you basically had to learn the places
How to click? How to
of
click?
right buttons to
Yeah,
open a game, and right.
I
Some
didn't.
functions were translated. I think some functions were translated, but mostly it was in Russian. I think if someone's listening who knows more can maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember it being very tricky, but it was quite rewarding because the players there were so high level.
Yeah.
Even some of the best of Russians played a lot there back then in the early
ASV
2000s.
777. That's
Yes,
Artemiev.
Artemiev was one of
Yeah.
my most often
Yeah. He played
confronted
a lot there.
players. I think we played a lot at I'm not sure if he was already at Playsite. Maybe he was already there.
Sniper
But
Sniper gave me admin privileges to gambler, so I could do some of the tournaments as well.
yeah, Sniper. So Maxim Karasov. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was always also there a lot, and a lot of others that I don't even remember now.
Tunet used to play there as well quite a bit.
Yeah, Tunet was also at Camper, and he was everywhere.
Yeah.
He was too good always.
Yes.
I think the first time I played with him, I didn't believe when he had I don't know what his nickname used to be, but he was so young when he started beating me. And when I heard of his age and thought about how easily he beat me, I was like, I should quit this game. Getting too old for this shit. I'm sorry, this is live. Shouldn't say shit. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about the Twitch, you know. Zoli last week Zoli told me that it shouldn't be any swearing. But I don't know if anybody's actually watching
But
this, so
yeah, I have a coffee in a beer mug, so
yes.
I apologize for that too.
Yeah. I'm not smoking cannabis here.
No,
Not
yeah,
not
but
not so.
yeah,
Not.
I think the online scene is for the young players. Uh, I noticed at some point that all the young players were beating me because unlike Sultan, I've never been a sort of a speed player. So when I was playing 5 minute games against these young Estonian players or whatnot, I was just getting my ass kicked all the time. That's a body part. That's another swear word. So at some point, I started thinking that the online gaming is probably not something I'm gonna get very good at because of the time pressure and maybe like Sultan spoke about last week, how he's become so good at being fast and also precise with his moves. I've always kind of looked at the game that I want to spend my time with it. I don't want to make rushed moves. I want to see what's going on and then do the
Yeah,
calculations in peace. And so if I were to play 1 minute games, I would probably not get out of the opening stage at a renju game in 1 minute because I'm just thinking that okay, what should I put here? And
same
so
here.
it's kind of fascinating this start to your new program that you had the speed demon in your first episode and then you have a slow snail in your second episode. I don't think I've lost many games on time, but I've certainly gotten into time trouble so many times that I've definitely lost a lot of games because of that, using a lot of time in the wrong place.
Yeah.
So I can really respect your first visitor who happens to be so efficient and fast at the same time. It's a skill that I've never gotten.
Yes. And I think today we will be focusing more on live tournaments, your results, your games on live circuit, as well as the offline world. That personally I don't know. The correspondence world, I don't know too much about it. Maybe you can start the introduction as well on the correspondence, like what is on correspondence, Renju, and then perhaps Ivo Ivo will continue on a later episode as well.
Yeah, so as well as the regular World Championships that are played live on live tournaments, I'm not sure how long, but there's always been this correspondence World Championship that's been done offline. I'm not sure which year I tried first, but it was organized at some weird server where you had to make moves by sending an email that contained the coordinate where you want to put your next move. And somehow, I'm not sure, was there a site where you could then see the game what it looked like, or did you get a response email where you had the position on the board after the move? It was some freaky stuff back then. It was really difficult, and I think that tournament I didn't play it till the end. I think, but I can't put together the year when I did that. Uh, but yeah, I was um, in my years at online renju class. I was always happy to play longer games, and I don't remember the year when I was introduced to this site called Renju Offline, where you can play long games offline. Usually, maybe the games were, what was it, 90 days per player for a game, and you had maybe 30 days maximum to make a single move. So there was really no rush, and you could fully analyze all the positions as much as you wanted, or just play quickly if you want. But I think this is the place where I really started to pay attention to analyzing. I got quite good at it at online renju class, which was first based on the old riff rules, and it contained a lot of analyzing on the lectures that were given by Ando Merite, the Estonian legend who founded the renju class. But this offline place was good for me. There were a lot of strong players been here over the years, and some of them I've met too many times. by saying that, meaning that they have been beating me so much that I sometimes wanted to cry when I'm going to sleep. How did he beat me again, even though I had 90 days to figure him out? It's kind of depressing. You have all the time, so you can't blame that. And you can use your analyzing programs if you want, as much as you want, and you still can't block the guy.
Is that that's
Can be
something that's
extremely
something I
depressing.
wanted yeah, that's something I wanted to ask for myself, like using programs. Where is there any restrictions in terms of rules? What is allowed, what is not allowed, or is everything allowed?
Well, if you're playing an regular offline game that is not part of a world championship tournament or whether, I don't think you have any restrictions. If you
Yeah,
want to use a program that solves automatically the positions, then you can
yeah,
probably use that. But I've always approached that idea as, what do you learn if you let your computer
that's it.
calculate the position? What
Yeah,
do you get from just winning? I think it's maybe
yeah,
something that Zoltan spoke about last week, that um, especially young players maybe, but some older, they only play for
points.
the results, yes, the
Yeah,
points, the rankings. If you have the site has a ranking system, you want to be as high on top on that list as you possibly can. I get that. I mean, I've always been a competitive person myself too, but regarding renju, I've always wanted to get something from the game, not just the points, but some feeling that I really beat him. I didn't just use some solver to find me a 25 move win that I had no chance of seeing myself.
yeah,
So basically, who can control how you found the moves? No one can control that. I think the offline championships that are held, the referees, they're usually, there's one main referee and maybe one assistant referee. They probably go through the games and they're trying to look for copied games. Like if in another group or in the same group there's an identical game and the moves are getting copied straight from that, then maybe there can be some something from that. Or if you get caught by doing moves to another player or someone else does moves for you somehow, and only things like that I think can be checked in a tournament like this. But I think it is based on the fact that the players participating in a tournament like this, which doesn't really give you anything, there's no prize money or there's no trophies or anything. It's just the experience and the desire to get better at playing renju, analyzing the situations yourself, finding the wins or blocking the wins that the other one thinks they have. I think it's based on the goodwill, so to say,
yeah.
for the lack of a better explanation. I think it's based on the fact that those who want to play this tournament, they want to play it by themselves.
But is it possible to do well with offline, with correspondence, without having a massive database or a solver to like help you do that? Just do you know of any players who don't have anything to?
I don't think anyone at this level as the highest league, the highest level of this world championship, I don't think there's any player who hasn't done their analysis in their own databases or downloaded game databases from either this offline server or at renjunet.
Yeah,
There are huge databases of live games. Those are all made for a reason, so that the games can be reviewed by anyone and they can be analyzed by anyone. So there's nothing wrong with looking at past games, I think.
yeah,
Of course, it can create, so to say, unfair situations if someone has downloaded 100,000 games and has them available for review and the other one doesn't have any, but then again, they are available to anyone. So it's not really unfair to anyone if someone has downloaded every game that he has ever found. because that's the whole point of having these databases. They are
Yeah.
free. The RenjuNet site is collecting as many live tournaments as possible, and those games are always there to be downloaded. Every single game that is played at this Renju offline server, they are all, whenever you want, you can download all of them and review them. So you can study the certain opening patterns and see which moves are getting played a lot, which moves are favoring black, which moves are favoring white. But
Yeah.
those databases, they don't tell you if the games you are watching have been played by optimal moves. They
Mm,
don't tell
mm.
you if the player has made a mistake at move 35. They don't tell you if the player has made the perfect move at 27. That's always something that you have to review. If you watch a game, you maybe have to think about, okay, who are these players? Do I know them? Are they strong players? Are they stronger than me? Are they weaker than me, maybe? And is this pattern that are playing, has it been played 5 times in about 100,000 games, or has it been played 1,500 times, which means that there has to be some sense to it, maybe. So there's a lot to think about. Even if you download 100,000 games, it still leaves a lot to you to figure out what is a good pattern for you, and you always have to think about who you're facing. Anyway, if you know him, that's the problem at this offline environment. Nowadays, there are so many players that haven't played a lot of games here, and immediately they are showing terrific records, mainly winning games. And then after 6 months, they might be gone and never come back. So you never know if they are playing with another nickname or whatever. So many of your opponents here are unknown to you. That's a problem. At least for me, I usually like to know something about who I'm facing. Like Zoltan spoke last week, he knows his enemies well, so he can prepare for them. I think it's always difficult to play. That's still golden. I don't
Yeah.
remember how old Renlib is, but it's a golden program.
Yeah.
Best regards to our friends in Sweden. Was it Frank Arkbo maybe
Yes.
who made the program? He was playing at Playsite.
Is it still updated? I don't know. I should
That
probably
I
go.
don't know, but I think it's still at the RenjuNet site. It is still linked there. I think when you can download the games from RenjuNet server, you can still open the libraries with Renlib. So I think there has to be some support there. But I don't know if there's been a new version of Renlib in ages. Why should there? It still works.
Yeah.
It's a diamond, so to say.
Yes.
It's a great analyzing tool, and
Storing
of
as
course,
well. Yeah.
yeah, and of course it has a VCT victory by continuous threat solver. So if there is a winning pattern, then you can find it with Renlib if you want.
Yeah.
So that's of course one thing to think about if you're playing offline games, how much you want to use what even Renlib can offer you. Do you want to use the VCT solver all the time in games? I don't
Yeah.
think it can be banned because you can't control anyone using it
Mm.
in their own
Mm.
home.
I think
So I
that's.
think it's
Mm.
it's it's again this situation where we leave it to each player to think what they want. If they want to get results, then fine, they can use it. There's no there's no use in denying it or making it disallowed because it can't be controlled. So why fight it?
Yeah, that's the aspect of offline gaming that I dislike maybe the most. That you can have such an advantage if you use all the tools possible, all the cheats possible, all the resources possible, whatever the term you may think of it. And myself, I know that I'm competitive and I have a lot of time on my hands. So if I get excited about something, then I will actually do a lot. Hey, Marcus, cheers to the chat. Um, if I have a lot of time, I have a lot of energy, I have all the tools, then I'm gonna use them in order to win, in order to maybe also get better. But that's the same with poker. And like when the huts became all the what is the hot's name, the interface where you get all the data, then I started disliking online gaming because I wasn't ready to start exploiting all the available information that I could. I like the uh, natural, how do you say that in English, uh, natural game, and I enjoy live matches because you know it's the same rules for everybody unless
Yeah.
you constantly walk to toilet.
Yeah.
I'm not pointing anywhere,
Yeah, I
but
know. I know that was just random.
yeah, just random,
Yeah.
but basically
Yeah.
it's the same rules and same resources for everybody, and you just stare at the board and you come up whatever you can come up with. um but like I'm wondering whether offline gaming could actually work for me, and if I just say, hey, look, I'm not doing anything else, I'm not taking even renlib or anything, I'm just trying to figure it out, but I might not be very good at it. I might not get any results, and I don't know if that would conflict with the purpose.
Yeah. But I think that idea is conflicted too, because when you're playing poker or renju online, I mean offline,
Mm.
I mean online, I mean in the live
Yeah,
tournament on board,
yeah,
you're not evenly matched with your opponent. You're always at a different level. I think there are no players who are exactly on the same level. You can you can compare basically the Finnish players to, for example, Estonian or Russian players. They've had a strong group of players together for such a long time. In Russia, they have different clubs in different cities. They are doing a lot of playing and competing and a lot of analyzing together.
yeah.
So of course they are supposed to be ahead of us when we meet on the board. We are not evenly matched at that point. So it's the same offline. You all have the chance to get whatever tools or data you want. So that's even, right? It's there for the taking, all the data, all the games, the renlips, they are all free. They are not
Yeah.
paid programs or anything. They are not in secret places. They are openly shared. And so basically what that does is actually it gives a chance to even the situation. If you don't do any
That's a good
analyzing,
point.
if you don't do any analyzing, and when you play a live game against someone who knows everything, he's just gonna whoop you in a minute because he knows everything. And if you don't know what to do, you're gonna lose early. Just a
That's a
rough example,
that's a good
it's
point.
but
I
at an
haven't
offline
thought about that.
environment, it's not actually making it more unfair. It's actually balancing the situation a bit, that you have the tools, you have the data if you want to learn what is played and see what kind of results these patterns are giving away, then go ahead and use them. But of course, the best of players, they know these basics and they know their advanced stuff, and then you can give them the 21 days to analyze your move. They have the better skills, so they are probably gonna find the better moves than you do anyway. But you should have enough data to get you through the first phase of the game, maybe. Like there's always a lot of talk in Renju about the opening stage and the theories and how it's limiting the options that you discussed last week as a difference to Swap to Gomoku, which is a fully open world, and Renju isn't because of the balance in the middle. always at the starting point.
Yeah. So I'm getting feedback that Bano sent me a message. Shout out to Bano on Messenger that my audio is super high, and then yours are not. So I'm trying to sort it out. So, is this
There's
better?
a message in the chat as
Yeah,
well.
Markus said as well that same thing.
Yeah, I can't really control that. I think we have the Teams connection, and I've got a microphone here, so it should come out.
Got the mixer.
And if I put more sound, it'll just make it your sound louder for me.
Yeah, I've got the mixer here. I have no idea how to tune it. Maybe it's already better. So
yeah,
now Bano says now you are quiet too. Yes, I am quiet because I toned it a little bit. So I heard somewhere that you're supposed to try and get it into yellow. So when I'm talking, it should be yellow. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna put the mixer here, and let's play around it for a little bit. Audio mixer. Where is it? Maybe it doesn't allow. Yeah. Maybe it doesn't allow. OBS doesn't allow for me to put the OBS in there. Unless I put.
Okay.
I could put it. I could do some cheeky thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't put the audio on the Twitch feed, or I'm gonna hear everything on delay myself.
So now Bano is saying no, I'm alright. I don't know how to get you better. Can you say something?
Something.
Yeah. Should be alright now.
That was a clever joke. Got it.
Yes. Can't you hear I'm laughing?
That's how we are in Finland. Full of clever jokes.
Yes. It's almost as good as a German joke though. So what I'll do is I'll put the display capture, and I'll put the display 3. No, display 2. Yes. Then I'll put it small. No. Well, you get the idea. So this is. I think that's.
We have the sound from Teams.
All right. Yes. So maybe not.
But if they can still hear us, then we can just move on. Or
yeah.
keep talking what we were talking. I just can't remember what it was. We were talking about offline environment, I think.
Yes. So what kind of let's talk about a little bit about the Finnish renju. We had how many Finnish championships, how many Helsinki Opens, how many Tampere Masters did we have?
I think in Tampere we only had the one tournament, if I remember correctly.
I think we had a couple Tampere Masters.
At
Yeah.
least there's only one Tampere Masters in RenjuNet database. It was in 2006.
Yeah. All right.
That I remember. I'm not sure if we had one Helsinki Open at Tampere. I'm not sure about that, but only one of these so-called Tampere Masters. I don't know why we called it Tampere Masters. I don't know, but it was in 2006, so it was 3 years after we founded the federation, and we had quite an interesting bunch of people there. I have it now on the screen if it's still showing on the feed to someone. It was a tournament called Tampere Masters, and you can find it on the RenjuNet site. You can just find the tournament by name, and if you want to see, but
Timo won
yeah.
it. Happy birthday,
Yeah.
by the way, to Timo. I noticed on Facebook that is his birthday, so everybody go and bombard Timo's messenger by birthday wishes.
Yeah, happy birthday from Finland.
Yes. So
Yeah, but
strong, only one loss.
we had a strong Estonian delegation. There were top 4 places, and then Ans was there in 6th, and then some younger players also came, so almost 10 players. Then we had some Swedish players, Peter Jonsson, who has been almost every time we've had a tournament in Finland. I think he's been there. Mr. Riff. And then, of course, our another friend, Stefan Karlsson, probably the strongest Swedish player. He has been a few times in Finland, I think. And I think it was because of Peter and Stefan's connections, meeting them online as well, that we have actually played in the, what's it called, the Swedish Team Championship tournament. The Swedish Championship from as a team format, where they had teams from different cities. We played there a few times in a mixed team, I think. Maybe we had a Finnish team. I don't remember if we ever had 4 players there. But at least me, Marko, and Lauri, we've played as a Finnish mixed team. I think we had Irene Karlsson one time as our 4th player, Stefan's wife. She was Estonian, right?
That's actually my first and only gold medal in renju. I participated one of the team championship tournaments in Sweden as a reserve player for Estonian team.
Nice.
I'm not sure if I played one game or not. I showed up for a couple of hours on a cruising boat trip from Finland to Sweden, and we had like 5 hours in Stockholm. So I visited the event for a couple of hours, and I was formally as a reserve player for their team, and I still have that medal. Super proud.
Yeah, gold is gold.
Gold is gold.
We also had 2 more exotic guests from Latvia. We had Katis Kirkis and Arnis Veidemanis. I think Arnis has won European Championship in the 19s, if I'm not wrong. So he was a strong player. I think he wasn't that active at that point anymore, but he was still a super strong player.
Yeah.
I
Katis
think I
passed
think I
away.
I think I got to play with
Rest.
Arnis, and I think we drawed in that tournament.
Yeah. Katis passed away several years back.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, my friend.
Yeah, I think he only played this first day, but he was also a strong player.
Yes.
But yeah, we have usually little guests, but they are of strong level, since they are mostly from Estonia and the top Swedish players. So we have stronger guests than we are ourselves. So we are blessed with good company.
Yeah. And how many times would you say we had Finnish championships?
If I have to guess, I think we did three times, but let's see.
I'd say 4.
Rangenet side, it was 4.
I'm not. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I wanted to give you this one.
Right.
Don't want to be right every time.
And all of
But
them
yeah,
in Tampere as well.
yeah, they are. I think we made a conscious decision that we played the championship at Tampere as we had the Helsinki Open anyway in Helsinki, so we had one tournament in both main cities that we had. Maybe if that was the reason, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Too many years, too much. No, okay, yeah, I can't say alcohol, but yeah.
Back in those days, I would say I would say there was a bit too much alcohol.
I would say that. Well, this is off the record, of course, but the second days of Finnish championship were not played at high level. Maybe you can
No.
say that. Yeah.
Although I
But
tend
we
to
had
play.
fun. Yeah. We
Yeah,
had
I
fun.
tend to play better back in the day when I was in hangover because I wanted to get the game over with.
Yeah, and you can't be too hasty when your brains don't even work. You don't
Yeah.
make quick mistakes.
Yeah. I'm not
No, no, no,
advocating
no.
alcohol or
Yeah,
hangovers
yeah, and
during Komoku
this
or
is
Renju.
this is actually, even though it may be hard to believe, this is mainly only humor.
Yes.
We were in good spirits.
Most often Estonian or Russian spirits.
Yes. No, but yeah, well, okay. So we had 4 tournaments.
You ended up winning all the Finnish championships. Good
Yeah, I
job, buddy.
think I did.
I like to think that if we continued those, maybe one of the years I could have won. Maybe.
Yeah, yeah,
I think individual games, at least maybe the 2007, 2006, 2007, one of those, I did win you, but
yeah. I
personally,
didn't win all the games in these
yeah,
tournaments. I don't know if I won all the games in any tournament. Actually,
yeah.
not sure. So yeah, it's always possible.
Let's see when we
In a,
get
in a single
Marco.
game, in a single game, so much can happen when you're playing on board and you have the usually a tight time limit. So
Yeah.
much can happen. It can go as expected, or it can go in the exact opposite way every single time.
Let's see when
That's
we
that's the
get.
best of it.
Let's see when we get Marco here next time to Finland. When he's having his holiday, we'll squeeze Finnish championships there and have
Oh yeah,
Kari play and maybe with some luck, Valtteri Pulliainen, the Gomoku star, could join as well.
yeah. It's kind of.
Is it Pullinen or Pulliainen? I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
Yes,
We
Valtteri.
haven't really been much in contact. But it's kind of shame. Marco, I don't remember what year, but he got a job in the States. He's been there, living there for a long, long time now, and
Yeah,
you've had your spells abroad. So
yeah,
as we already had only like five members, and even out of those 5, I think Lauri wasn't that active in renju. He got quite interested in Go at some point. He was very good at Go as well. I think he was mainly, the company, having fun was his thing. Was a good creative player too, but he wasn't that active, I think, either. So we didn't have much resources. So we did fine with what we had, I think. We had maybe 5-6 years of quite active federation, maybe. And we managed to keep 4 Finnish championships, and we had several Helsinki Open tournaments, and we managed to participate twice in the Team World Championship as well.
and we hosted
Yeah.
2008
Yeah, our
FIMA Championships
first
event.
participation was in 2006 in Tallinn. We were there.
Yeah.
There we played first time, and then I think in that tournament there was the meeting about the next host. I think, if I remember right, maybe. And we got the honors, or was it 2007 when the individual championship was? I don't know, but we got it anyway for 2008. But in 2006 we were there, one of 8 teams, one of 6 countries, because Russia and Estonia had both had 2 teams in the final tournament. But this 2006 it was played in Estonia, so, and we got experience, we can say.
We certainly did.
It was a really nice tournament. I think the, what's it called, the Kullo Hobby Center, was it that? It was a nice place to host the tournament.
I agree.
And it was interesting to meet the different people. Most of them already familiar from online gaming, some sites or many sites. Like
I thought you said Sam side.
Sam site, yeah, my username, Sam site. Nice joke, Finnish joke.
Finnish joke.
Yeah, like in the Russian first team, you know, Sergei Artemiev, like we spoke. I think I've first played with him since about 99, maybe 1999. And then the Estonian players, of course, were familiar to us beforehand. And even from Russia too, there are several players familiar from online gaming. Even Japanese team had Mr. Io. With him I've played at many different sites. The Swedish team, they were also familiar to us though. So mainly they were familiar people, and was nice to get to meet them in person.
Yeah.
It's always so strange to the offline environment. You think of people, they are just usernames, nicknames. You have no idea who they are.
Looking
It's
at
always nice.
looking at that list of players, I'm not sure if the stream shows it, but yeah,
Yeah,
so many friends, so many people that I recognize, so many people that I've seen over the years, and so many people that I would actually like to get in touch again. So anybody there wants to come as a guest or have a chat, have a session, just reach out to me and make it happen. Is of any use.
yeah, we don't need to look at any games. We can just talk.
Yeah,
People can do their own research and open the RenjuNet site and figure out the tournaments there. It's fine
yes,
if they want. Like we talked about the offline world, all the info is there if you want to see it. So be active and look at those stuff.
I agree. Any topics on your
Yeah,
mind?
but maybe next time we can try something else.
Yeah,
But we can keep talking. So in 2006 we started our international career, so to say, and we were in tough competition, of course. As a new country, we didn't have much chance of making significant amount of points, but we did have something to cheer about. As I was talking before your teams crashed, that Marco actually got 6 wins out of his 9 games, which is pretty damn good for Finnish players. Six wins out of 9 games, when considering that the opponents were Estonian and Russian, Chinese, Swedish, and Japanese strong players. It was a very good result. And Marco is the only Finnish player still to have played in an individual World Championship tournament. He was in Japan. What was the year? not sure. It was either early 2000 or late 1990s. He was in Japan. He played the qualification tournament and he played the B tournament in the Japan World Championship. And he and Lauri played in European Championships in Tallinn. It was something like 2002 or 2000, around that. Around the time when I moved to Tampere, I know. It was either before that or just after that. They played in the European Championships final tournament. Time we wanted to be nice and give everyone else points. But yeah, Marco got a really good result. And I had a couple of memorable games myself, even though they didn't get much points, but still. One big win and one almost excellent draw.
Yeah, I got a couple of draws, and
Yeah, I think the first round was it against Japan, if I remember right. First round, I think we played against Japanese team, and I think we actually won it because Marco won his game and all three other games we drew. So we actually won Japan in the tournament, which
which
is
is pretty.
quite astonishing when you think about Japan and
Yeah,
some players like Mr. Nakamura and all the other great players, and then you have these Finnish geezers coming to town for the first time.
and
And we got
I
two
got
and a
a,
half points after
yeah,
4 games. That
I
was
got,
quite sensational.
I got a. Apparently, I have had a draw against Junya
Yeah,
Takashima.
yes, and
Just
Kari drew with Yukki Osumi.
that
I think
those are some heavy level
I
names.
think Osumi has had some good results
Yes.
later on, and I drew with Okabe.
Who is
I
the
think.
player on the 22?
Hmm?
22 on the, yeah, Wu Hao. I got 6 points out of Wu Hao, which is,
So you got a draw against Wuhao. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So it says yes.
I remember that game. I
So we
remember.
actually won the Japanese team 2.5 to 1.5, and against the Chinese team, you drew with Wuhao, who is, I think he won the World Championship in 2000 and something, the individual title, if I'm not.
No, that was Woody.
No. Oh yeah.
But yeah,
My bad. Yeah.
he's
But he was a really
he's really,
strong player, and in the same round, I actually won on the first table. I won Wei Chen, probably their best player at the time, maybe.
yeah.
So we got one and a
Chen.
half points against China and 2.5 points against Japan. So we were, in a way, we were crushing the Asian teams.
Yes. I
But only
remember when
I
I
say that
offered.
only when thinking about the expectations. I don't think we expected to get that much points
Yeah,
against many teams.
I offered the draw quite early, rather early on the game, and was playing. I think I was playing black, and I was in a good position. So he was puzzled. He was like, "Well, this could actually be a loss." So he accepted the draw.
Yeah,
I'm happy about that.
yeah. I think against Chen Wei, I had to play D11, which I really dislike. I've always disliked it so much, and he played some pattern that I wasn't even that familiar with, but somehow it just started going in a way where I started thinking that, hey, I'm not going to lose this game. So that was actually a nervous point because I was sure I was going to lose the games at the first table, all the games. And to be in a situation where you actually have a chance to win someone as strong as he was. It was actually a moment where I started thinking, okay, now I'm gonna mess this up
Yeah.
because I'm in a good position. I'm gonna mess this up, but I managed to keep focus in the game because I wanted to get one win out of the tournament. That was
Gen-
my goal in the tournament, to get one win, and I got it on the fourth game,
Genway
and against strong.
is somebody I consider personal friend as well at the moment. I was visiting. It was 2 years ago, and met him again in person, uh, along with Chao Dong and a few others. And he actually took me in Beijing. He took me to a place where they teach kids. So they have a club place where they teach kids in renju, which was pretty darn cool. And he helped me buy that nice renju board that is with Click of Stones, the logo and everything. So I imported a couple of those boards back to Europe from that trip. Yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, not three. But yeah, he's active-ish still on teaching part. I don't think he plays much anymore, but super strong.
Yeah, I uh, I think the win against him was a big moment, but in the second round when we met the Estonian first team who actually won the tournament, I played with Ando Merit, kind of my former mentor from online Renju class, and of course multiple world champion.
Yeah,
And I remember the game. He opened an opening that wasn't familiar to me at all. So uh, I just figured that I want to surprise, and I actually chose blacks, even though I had no clue what to do next. I just chose blacks just to kind of surprise him because I knew I have no other chance than just to surprise him somehow and maybe get a long game. That was like my goal in that game. Get a long game, as long game as possible. Then I've succeeded. And I actually did that. I got a long game, but I got a game where I should have gotten a draw. I was I got out of the opening stages rather well, and maybe around 20 moves or so, 30 moves in or so, I started thinking that this isn't the kind of position that I should be losing at all. But then I figured that I'm against the multiple world champion, so there's got to be something here that I'm just not seeing. But I just kept on going for the long game, and it was actually a game which should have ended in a draw. But as we got to the later stages, um, I was getting lower on time. I made one stupid mistake. I made a move too fast, and he got me into a foul move easily after that. That was a pretty crushing loss because I was so close to an incredible result for me to get a draw against the world champion. That would have been quite the boost to get two draws in the first two games and one against the world champion. But I messed it up, which is kind of my trademark. I get into good positions often and then I mess them up in one single stupid move, and I did it there. And that haunted me for a long time. I still remember it, but I can sleep on it now. But but that was a moment which I've looked back at and why did I make that? But it was just the time pressure and the nervousness of the situation. I wasn't comfortable in that situation, and he was. He was like a pro player. He had no troubles with the times or the fact that the position was going towards a draw. He just kept on going and going and waiting if I make a mistake, and I did it.
yeah.
It was a lesson also. I
We
took it as
we've
a
all
lesson.
been there, man. We've all been there.
Yeah, yeah. But it was a good lesson. I mean, even when you're close to something, you're still far from it. You have to take it. Whether it's a win or you make out of a losing position, get a draw, you have to take it right into the end. A single mistake, especially with the black stones in renju, a single careless move can make you fall into a trap later on.
Yes.
Most rounds we didn't have much chance when thinking about the score, but we did have those great rounds against the strong Asian teams. It wasn't bad from a newcomer, I think. We did fine. Or what do you think?
I think we did good. I think we could have done worse. I think
Yeah, yeah, we could.
I think if we would have to play as a team now, we would probably do worse. I think you're the only one of us who has been practicing Renju, like keeping up your level since those years and being active at least some ways. I played a little bit here
Yeah,
and there, but I haven't practiced. So
yeah. I don't remember when I've played on board last time, but I have so to say kept in touch with the game. I've tried to force myself to play the Correspondence World Championship every year, so that so that I get some serious playing each year. I'm not that active at the Renju offline. I get active at some point of year. I maybe join 3 or 4 of the smaller tournaments that run there all the time. I go to 3 or 4 at a time usually, so it's like 30, 40 games. I try to play them. I play them loosely, and for some games that turn interesting, then I maybe get more interested in analyzing them. But it's just to keep myself not getting too rusty. And then the correspondence tournament, which runs for most of the year actually. The time control is so long that the games can last for almost 9 months if both players use all their time. Don't think I've ever had a game that long, but still long games.
yeah,
And I think they are tricky with the time control in a different way than the live games. The live games you are running out of time all the time. You have to follow it all the time. And in offline games, you easily forget the time. I think you easily forget the time or you forget the games. At least that's what happens to me. I don't know how the really good players do in offline, but for me the problem is that if I make a move and then I have to wait sometimes for like 2 weeks for the opponent to make the move, I might have just forgotten a lot about what I've been thinking about the game. What's my plan? If he puts there, what do I do then? And so on. I'm not keeping so accurate databases and of the games anymore. I usually just analyze the move that is currently on the board a little bit, but I don't necessarily save them to any database. Just roll around with the moves and then decide on something, which is a really bad way to play these offline games if you want to really succeed. I think you have to be accurate in your analysis and store them all the time.
routines
Yeah, yeah. And for me, it happens
building.
that if I have to wait for a move in a game a long time, I might have forgotten some of my analysis that I've done. And then I might be making moves in a day when I'm not really feeling sharp. So
Mm,
that's a day when you shouldn't be making any moves in an offline game when you're not really feeling clear and focused, because in those games, any weaker move, not even a weak move, it can be a good move, but not the best move.
mm.
The good move is not enough in the offline games, at least not in the high league, which is the top league, and the first league where I've played, like the first division, so to say. Mostly any move that is not optimal or close to it is already a weak move. The players are so good, and if they play more focused than you do, you end up paying even quickly if you don't find the best moves early.
Yeah.
So that's a problem for me. I still keep making moves when I feel like making moves. I don't necessarily make the moves when I'm feeling good. So that's something I still need to work on. Wait for the day when I'm feeling sharp and then look at the game.
So the optimal way to get points out of you on offline tournament is make a couple moves in the beginning and then wait until the very end, and you would have lost
Oh
all
yeah,
the
yeah,
all the all the all the plans you might have initially had.
yeah. Use the maximum amount of time you have for one move in a game, and I'd be totally lost.
Don't worry, Samuli. I will cut this. I will edit this out.
Yeah, especially with the next correspondence tournament starting in the early May. Please edit this information out right now.
Yes.
No, no, it's not a fact, but I noticed that I do that sometimes. Uh, not that I get confused if my opponent uses a lot of time. It's just that I sometimes make moves in a day when I'm not at my sharpest, and
Yeah.
then those moves are not optimal. My opponents can't know when I'm feeling sharp and when I'm not, so you don't have to edit this. That was Finnish humor.
Yeah, it
But
was my
yeah,
my humor. I'm not gonna touch. This is good content.
yeah, raw
mm,
material
mu-
is best material.
this is much better content than
Yeah,
me figuring out the technical difficulties on this broadcast.
yeah,
This
but
is
yeah,
why we're here, not sort out Twitch and OBS and stuff like that. But you know,
but yeah,
actually, what do you think, Samuli? Now that we're closing in 2 hours on the stream.
yeah,
No, the recording is hour and a half. I've been live. I've been sitting down 2 hours. So what do you think if we kept a little bit of break,
yeah,
30-minute break? I will go and set up the new router. All right. I will attempt to get a new connection for myself here. I'll have a
okay.
little bit of dinner as well, and a snack. Go to toilet,
Yeah, you
and
don't
then
have to share every detail. So leave
yeah,
something
yeah. I will
for
I
the
will report
imagination.
I will report everything back what I did in
Yeah,
great
please don't.
grave detail. But is that all right?
Yeah, just tell me the time when you want to continue, and we'll continue then.
Let's do it this way that I close this stream now, and then I'll ping you right away when I get my connection set back up. The viewers can come back if they want to. We are not done by any means today. I'm just feeling that if it's a connection issue on my end, then I might be able to tackle it with just a minor break. Because I
So
would,
around 7?
yeah, around 7, more or
Okay,
less. I might get it done in 15 minutes right away, but it's probably gonna take a little bit
okay.
longer than
But we'll aim for 7 o'clock.
that. Let's do that. Thanks for
All
the
right.
part one.
One
Shall
is
we
wow.
look at the your game with Sushkov?
We can look at it, but I can't tell you what I was thinking. I don't remember so well. My memory is an old man's memory, but sure we can see if I remember something from the game. It was a pretty weird one because 2 years before in Tallinn I also played Suskov, and then I got to select the opening, so of course I chose my usual D9 or I7, can't remember which. Has to be D9 because Sultan spoke about the right-handed players and so on. So D9 starts to right, so I probably opened that. But anyway, I had actually prepared one variant for white, which actually gives black a win, but it's a really difficult one, and didn't think that too many people knew it because even I didn't know it. I just knew it was a black win.
Yeah.
So that raises a question: did I really know it or not? But I believe the talk that I heard that there was a black win, but I couldn't find it. So I had decided before the tournament that at some point I will test this against someone. So I chose, why not Suskov? Who's a better player to find a win for me? I was thinking like, well, let him find it for me in a tournament. And I actually got to lead him to that variant. And he spent so much time at one point that I was starting to think that he doesn't know it. That and the position is quite sharp. That if black can't find the win, then black would have lost the game. But I made a mistake at one point where he was continuing the path correctly, like my plan, but I myself remembered it the wrong way. I played a move that was supposed to happen only at the next stage. I played the wrong move and I lost it quickly. And that was like the rerun of my game with Ando, where I was going for the draw and made a stupid mistake. And in that game, I was almost trapping Sushkov. Maybe. I don't know if he would have found the win at the real variant. But anyway, made a stupid winner and let him off the hook, so to say. But in this Helsinki game, he opened and he opened d3, which I've always played with white. I've always considered it to be difficult to win as black. And we played fifth move here, which wasn't very confident for me. I know I wouldn't have liked it as black myself, but I wasn't so strong on so sure on the what was to
Let's
come.
back it up a little bit. I'd like to, maybe if it's possible, for you to comment individual moves as well. Maybe just basic theory, like what happens, what is normal, like what do you recall, or if you don't recall the theories, just think intuitively, like what do you think of the moves and what are the other options, because once we're analyzing a live game that happened and you apparently won, but if you can show those moves as well, I think that would be.
Well, well, I think most knowing the basic openings, the best fifth move in d3 opening is at g9 here,
Yeah.
which was his alternative move.
Yeah.
Also, it was there, so I took it off, and usually always the second move that was given, it is what is played, because this g9 is the strongest fifth move, so naturally it always got taken off, unless you wanted to maybe gamble on something, then you could have left it.
Yeah.
But so this selection here, which fifth to move, which fifth to select was easy because he gave the g9, which I immediately took off. I'm
Yep.
pretty sure that the continuation to maybe even here was normal. There was nothing maybe surprising about it, but this was a variant that I didn't know well, so that was the problem here. I kind of knew maybe which moves should be made up to this point, but I didn't really have experience in playing this that many times. I didn't have a clear idea where this was going. So that's always a trouble when you know you're facing a player who's much stronger than you and he has selected the opening. And of course, when he has decided to offer this fifth move, you of course think that he has a plan here,
Yeah.
obviously. Of
Yeah.
course, that's why he has this opening, this fifth move, he has a plan for it.
Hmm.
So that's worrying me because I wasn't expecting an opening like this. I was maybe thinking that he would probably open maybe in a more aggressive style. but I was, how to say, maybe a bit torn in this game, I remember, because this opening looked like it was maybe a gift to me in a way. I should be okay here, but of course he didn't know that I'm not so confident in this pattern. But it was much better than what I would have feared beforehand. I would have feared he would have opened a similar style of opening than, for example, under it, and there I would have been lost, maybe more easily. Even if the opening would have been stronger for black and I would have taken black, I would have known that he has something prepared, so to say. But it's hard to say because this was, what, 13 years ago, so
Yeah.
some of this is a guessing game, of course, at this stage. But I was mixed here. I was kind of happy that we are at d3 and I'm with white, but at the same time I'm thinking that what's he up to, you know?
All right.
And
9, 10,
I think
and then 11.
this 11, if it's showing,
Yeah.
at least
Yes.
to you and maybe in the broadcast later, this is where I started to get confused. I wasn't really sure what should have been played here. Maybe this was what is supposed to be played. It's just something that I didn't know. So immediately I started thinking here that okay, so this is the deal. This is what he's prepared, and now I'm lost already. And we are 11 moves in, and we are maybe already in his plan.
Hey, 11 is not bad.
Yeah, I hear you. I didn't feel like I'm already lost. I mean, I don't mean that, but I was starting to think that here's the plan starting, so to say, and I had not seen this before. So I I would imagine if I try to remember myself 13 years ago that this is where I spent a lot of time trying to figure out what on earth I should do here. And I actually can't remember what move I chose, but luckily I have this button here that will show you that okay, I played here.
Nice.
I played here.
Yeah, if your opponent can't keep the tempo, can't keep the VCT, can't keep the tempo, yes, then why not?
Yeah, I figured he can't play play the 3 to L10 here. I can just block it on the other side. I have some counters on the left side, so he won't be able to get free, so to say, on the upper right part.
Yes.
I wasn't sure what he's gonna do next. I did feel that maybe he can start to crowd me in a way. I don't know a better word right now, but maybe he can surround me somehow, and then maybe this upper right part can be good for him later. But I would say that in 2008, even though I was playing badly in that tournament, I wasn't that bad at the moment in general. So I'm pretty sure I did a lot of calculations and I figured that this should be playable. Maybe it wasn't, I don't know, but I felt like I can try this. And I think that Mr. Suskov himself has often played well, particularly as a white player, as he plays quite actively as white. So that's what I was also trying here, to gain some activity of my own while also thinking about different ways to cut him.
Yes.
And yeah, he played the 13 to right side, but I just blocked it so he can't get free there. And then he also took out my other two
Yeah.
diagonally, which I was pretty sure he would, of course, take, and forcing me to go go and block him from the top.
Yep.
And at 17, I'm pretty sure we were where I was pretty much thinking we were gonna be. There was absolutely no point for him to use this black 4
I
either
agree.
way. There's absolutely no point. So this is, I think, this was the natural way to continue this. Maybe a better way, but I was pretty sure that this is what the board would look like after my 12th move. And this is speculation. I can't be sure. But looking at the game now and knowing the player I was, I'm pretty sure that this is what I was thinking. And here I wanted to take out the 4 and create more for myself as well. It also cuts any connection diagonally possibly made to the lower right side, not being able to use the 4 anymore. And this kind of a base for white building up is usually what Mr. Merite spoke in online renju class often about the inner structures and so on. These are usually shapes I go for, of course, depending on the situations. But when you're playing with whites, you want to keep some activities, maybe always keeping an eye on for any possibilities to get a foul move for black. And I'm pretty sure I was thinking here whether I should make my 3 diagonally here before making 18, but I decided against it because usually if you don't have to make a move, you don't make the move.
Yeah.
Because after you've made it,
You can't use it again.
You can't take it back.
Yeah.
It's done. So it's a threat. It's a threat, of course, an easy one to handle, but it leaves a problem to black in how to deal with it. And that's usually what I was trying to do as white. I was trying to give some counter activities back while also blocking the black structures, so to say. But it's always needed if you want to fight for win. And I was trying to win a game because I don't think I won any game in the tournament. So I was desperate to win some game, even at some cost. If I would lose it early or so on, I was quite determined at the later part of the tournament to play more actively and try and win one single game at least. But he played much like I expected. He just took the connection off and he didn't start making any necessary lines at the top either. He just took away my 2 with the 19 and then blocked my possible 4-3 at the f9 point. So he didn't make any 3s on top here. He just left everything open, which is quite expected, of course. The necessity of moves, a difficult word. No need to make the lines if you don't need to make the lines. That was almost poetic.
Well, yeah, and that's one of the key teachings of online renju class that I recall vividly. And whenever I play, I try to remind myself of that, and it has worked. It is something that my renju is based
I
on.
think when I was still playing a lot of Gomogu, I don't think that applied. I think at that time, whenever I was lost, I figured, well, I'll make a line and see what comes.
Yeah.
And that's like the worst thing you can do.
Maybe the Gomogu players, top Gomogu players, can comment on this, but I think Gomogu still is in big part. You know, it's semi-safe to take the line still, but in Renju, it's very much not.
Yeah, I don't think in Gomogu either you can just be spending your lines.
No.
Really, I don't think it applies to any game.
Yeah.
Any game, so it's the same concept there. Definitely,
Right.
every line used is a line used. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
But of course,
But
in
it's
Renju,
yeah.
especially with black player, you always
Yeah.
have to preserve your lines because you can't win in any way. You
Yes.
have those
That was my
forbidden
point.
moves. Yeah, yeah.
That was my
Yes,
point there
that's
behind.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely difference to Komoko how you approach, but I think the same principle applies. If it's not necessary to make it, there's no need to make it.
And in
But
Renju, you're when you play Renju and you become not a beginner anymore, then you build up sort of caution.
yeah,
When you're playing black, you're inherently you're aware of the forbidden moves, and that's
yes,
also like one way with lines you can break the structures of being trapped, right? Especially fours are really powerful because you can evade being forced to play a forbidden move.
yeah, yeah. It's
That's
you
one of
need
the
to
reasons why in Renchu you wouldn't play those moves
yeah you
unless you
always
have.
have to spare your force because those are used to win the game. So
Yeah.
if you want to win the game, you need to have a four somewhere.
Yes. All right.
Yeah,
Let's see what happens
but
with the game.
at this point, I was starting to feel that I'm gonna get crowded, and this lower left side is looking like if he gets there first, he's gonna just beat me easily. There's no chance to defend. If he gets here first, then he's a much better player than me. So at here, looking at this board now, I can't remember exactly what I was thinking. I would have been worried that he has some activity on the top, and this downstairs is looking like I need to get there first as well. So how do you get to top and the bottom first before him, so that he kind of has to follow you? That's the question at this point that I was most likely thinking. Again, speculating, but must be so. So you need to find a move in which you get some activity of your own that again he needs to reply, like with this 18. It's a block, but it also creates a threat that he has to respond. So
Yeah.
after this 21, you need to again block, as you have really nothing to attack with, but you have to block in a way that your opponent has to respect and follow that move somehow. So he can't just freely enter any new zone and just win you there.
I agree.
So I probably looked at a couple of choices in the game. Apparently I chose this 20-second move, and probably another one that I've been thinking would have been probably to play a diagonal 22 to over here,
Mm.
close to the 29,
Mm.
play to e10. There's some connections over there,
Mm.
but probably I've been looking at him cutting it with the line and then killing the upstairs and just coming downstairs and find a win there. So this 22 acts as a block. It kind of isolates the areas a little bit. It doesn't allow for these active black lines to connect to the left side anymore, and it also creates activity of white's own. If black tries to attack using the 4 to h7 somehow, there's some kinds of cuts to e10, which gives white some possible activity or at least counters. So it's a good looking move, and it kind of the obvious choice here for black is probably to go and block it on the top and then end up using the 4 and blocking everything white has at the top side. But he didn't play it there. He he went for the win, of course.
That is a threat already. PCF threat.
Yeah,
So you
he's
have to do something.
threatening to use his 4 and created another 4 here, so
Yeah.
this has to be
Dealt.
countered immediately.
Yes.
Can't be using white lines at the top anymore, but the next white move has to deal with the threat that is coming to the diagonal line to the stone 21. But if you go anywhere inside this structure that black has, it's very likely that
He will just keep tempo.
Yeah, he will keep tempo and he will roll you over.
Yeah.
So I tried an active looking or an aggressive looking 24, which is
Counter
his own
VCF.
countermeasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I figured this is the only way to try here.
Lesser players like myself would have maybe preferred to feel the force, so take the H10. But then no, cannot take because it's cannot take
can't
because
use it yourself
two
because
threes, yeah.
black stone on top makes an
Yes,
active line and then the game is over already.
that's right.
So it's another reason not to make your move. Firstly, you can't make the move because you
Yeah.
lose.
Yeah.
And either way, if you make a move to the inside, then later on you can't make a move on the upper side, which might be a good move for you. So it's a losing move, and even if it wouldn't lose straight away, it would have been an option used, and it actually destroys another possibility later on. So by not doing a 4, you keep it open to 2 ways. If it makes sense.
Does.
But yeah, he took away that
Both.
connection.
Yeah.
On the inside, so he cut both of those structures of 4 at the same time. Because by giving me either one of them, if he would have just if he would have played a 3 at the f10, then I would still have the luxury of using this 4 maybe to the upper side.
Yeah.
And it might have been a good stone for me.
Yes.
Later on. And it cuts his line. Maybe gives a possibility if he uses the active line 1911 to go to the right side somehow, it can create an opportunity to make it an overline and not so dangerous.
Yeah.
So he just took away all the chances, which is quite expected there. No real surprise.
Do you think, what is your feeling like? Was he expecting to do the 25th when he did 20, 21 and 23?
After 23, I'm pretty sure he must have seen that the 24 is an active choice to block, and it should be an obvious one because the other 24s at the time, I would feel they are leaving you quite short. You don't have much activity, and black seems to control the game afterwards.
Yeah,
because
they
seem much riskier.
If I make a move like 25 in a live game, it's most likely that I come up with it during the play. Like it's tough to like decide that kinds of plays, whilst attacking like that. You would actually go and block in the middle of an attack. Just a limitation.
I think it's the thinking here is that this lower side is looking very strong for black, so you can freely just kill white at the top. You don't need any new activity on top for black, because black is looking at the downstairs at this moment. Okay, this is a good place. I'm gonna find something here. I just need to kill the upper side.
Yeah.
And then let's fight it at the bottom. I'm pretty sure that would have been my thinking if I was black here. Of course, I will take the 25 on the inside, kill those both lines, so they're both useless for the white. And that was worrying. I was pretty sure he would take it. Of course, I was pretty sure he would take it because the other choices would have led to situations where if he makes a 25 on this other hole and creates a 3 here, then I
you
will
just
block
it
it
up
on the top, on the bottom side, and it's a big block for the downstairs part. It's not that strong anymore.
Yeah.
I get there first, and then I still have that H13 at the top at my use if I want. So it's a logical move. 25. I was expecting it when I make the 24 because I had a plan. I was taking 26. I was making my own move. I will cut the 11-19 combination there, so I don't have to worry about that anymore. And it creates, of course, a winning threat at the J13 point, which black has to take. So I know the next moves will, of course, be that black blocks that, and then he has to block my line at the left. This is what I looked at after 24. This is